Off the leash, up and running week 3 in the books for the Cleveland Browns. Mark Schwab, Leah Doherty, Ashley Holder with you.
Hello.
Take 2
Yes.
of the Big Fun Show.
Mark, you have anything you want to say?
We just did 4 dynamic minutes of the program.
Emmy award winning. I don't even know if you can win Emmys for podcasts.
But and I never hit record.
Shout out to Mark. This is exactly why. Do we have this problem when it was ladies episode in episode 2? You can't let a man do anything.
We came in from Monday Night Football. Okay.
Killed it.
We were exhausted, working till 3 a.m. We woke up, we got some breakfast, we hit the road. We got here and we knocked out this podcast.
After Leah was attacked by bugs.
Yeah, flawlessly we knocked out this podcast.
And then
Mark, he had one job, literally. Hit the record button.
Next man up, huh?
Doesn't
says a lot right there.
Doesn't hit record. Thank goodness we were only 4 minutes in.
Yep. And there we go. What do I know? Apparently I need another one of these guys, huh?
Mark did say he didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
Yeah.
So where we were going to start before yours truly was an idiot, and it won't be the last time. True or false statement? Rest of season, the best defense in the NFL will reside in Cleveland, Ohio.
I'm an eternal optimist. I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to say yes, even though, 3 weeks into the season, we haven't seen any truly tough tests for this defense. I get that. But I just feel like they're solid all the way around. Like, I haven't seen any weak spots in this defense so far with what we've seen just out of 3 weeks. I really like the balance we have between Za'Darius and Myles Garrett. They're just having fun out there. The way the freedom, Mark had talked about it when we tried to record it the first time, the freedom that this defense has, they're having fun playing together. It's been the most consistent thing we've seen from this team. I'm going to say yes and be an eternal optimist. I know the odds are not in my favor. I get it.
I'm just laughing because Leah put together almost everything that we said in the first 4 minutes. I'm trying to think
beautifully constructed
I'm trying to reconstruct it, but no, so completely I agree with you, Leah. Like you said, we haven't really seen much of their opponents that are actually good, who, they're going to see maybe in a postseason run and things like that. I really like the way the 49ers defense is going right now. They've played the Steelers, the Rams, the Giants, so a little bit of harder teams. But like I said, and just like she said, this is the most consistent part of the Browns. Now, if you want to dive in deep into a little part of where you're looking like, okay, this is where they could work on, which is interesting, is because this is what head coach Kevin Stefanski had to say as well, is their takeaways. They're only 2. They said that they come in bunches. They're not getting that right now. So that's something that they're looking for. But I mean, if that's the worst thing that you can find, but I don't have them being the number 1 defense the entire season through. We're just 3 games, and I just feel like it's really hard to maintain that from week 1.
That's where
all the way to the end of the season. I mean,
I'm with
we
Ashley.
got 15, 16 more games. Like that's a tough bout.
Yeah, I'm with Ash. I think I wouldn't be. They could finish second, and technically we would be right in saying false. Right. And they could finish second, third. They could finish first, but they've played 2 bad offensive clubs in the Steelers and the Titans, and a Bengals team with a quarterback basically running around on a peg leg in a monsoon. So I don't know if we've seen even them play a top-flight Bengal offense. Now, that said, I do not expect them to run into a high-powered offense and just get run off the field either. But it's just this, they're averaging, 70 yards a game less than the next defense?
Yeah, right now they lead the league in yards allowed with 163.7.
Yeah.
Next, Buffalo, 253. So that's a pretty large margin.
That is massive. So that gap should come down. Whether or not they can maintain it all year, I don't know, but I think they will be. And of course, if Garrett goes down with an injury, it changes this whole conversation.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to look at the teams that hit mid-season form. We were just talking about it, me and Leah, what the first game, what the Bengals look like. They went 0-2 the last 2 seasons. So, I mean, you have to look at what these teams are going to look like once they get their groove. And like you said, injuries go down. You just don't know what's going to happen for other teams as well.
We talked about in the preseason, there was all this conversation about freedom, right, of Jim Schwartz's system, especially the D linemen. And you hear that, you have these talking points. You don't always know what it looks like until you see Myles Garrett running up and down the offensive line, defensive line, waiting to find out exactly where he is going to attack them, and see these 2 goofy tight ends moving side to side because they're the poor schmucks that have been tracked with stopping 95. And you're like,
Good luck.
That's what they meant. And I guess Obo was talking about that too after the game.
Yeah, he was able to say that, they have their swagger. They're allowed to be themselves. They're allowed to play hard nose, and that's all what it seems like Jim Schwartz is all about, right? He wants to be up in your face, and when you have Myles Garrett doing a Euro step on the football field, I mean, what else can you do?
If this defense stays healthy the whole season, I mean, your players like Za'Darius and Myles, do y'all have them top 3?
Easy. Yes, I think so.
I would like a prize if at the end of the season they are the number 1 defense in the league. I will come back with these receipts.
And you got to look at the secondary too. I mean, the secondary's holding it down as well. Yes. I mean, you look at the rush. I mean, they get so much just shine, but I mean, they're doing their thing in the back too. I mean,
they didn't have Newsome
Delpit was leading in tackles. So
yeah, and they didn't even have Newsome in this game.
Right.
Out with an elbow injury.
So I don't know how long he's out for, but I mean, for one day. And I know the Titans, they are what they are. Hopkins isn't what he used to be, but he's still DeAndre Hopkins.
Right.
Treylon Burks is a bigger dude. It's not a dynamic passing attack, but they're not the Texans. Mm-hmm. Right. You know what I mean? They got some guys that have been around.
The problem with the Browns comes is how long can this are we talking about them putting together a full game and making it to the playoffs and going further, or are we just talking about them having the number 1 defense, right? They've got to have the other side of the ball working for them in order to get far, because the defense, you're going to end up just draining them over a while, so they have to figure that out.
And they were really good yesterday. Watson, his best game as a Cleveland Brown. I still feel like there better be another level or two for Watson. However, they didn't ask him to go to that level yesterday. I termed his play as effective. I think we would all agree, effective, not awesome. Does that sound about what you guys would think?
Yeah, and I think Watson had to have a good performance, though. He's been criticized like crazy the first 2 weeks, and I think they were at the point where, I don't know, I think they did have a conversation when that was probably like, listen, you need to step it up because you look terrible out there.
Well, starting off the game, what was the play? He was going down and decided to throw it back behind him instead of just taking the tackle and going down and getting sacked.
Yeah.
I think seeing the deep ball to Cooper was kind of like, okay, things with this offense are starting to click a little bit. Seeing pieces like that, we've seen so many shots to receivers to where it's overthrown, underthrown, whatever it may be, and seeing that start to click and was kind of like, okay, the wheels are turning. This thing is kind of coming together. Effective. I heard some people say yesterday he was looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league after this game, and I was like, okay, let's pump the brakes on this a little bit. But yeah, I mean, he was effective. Went out and did his job.
So he go ahead.
No, I'm saying the Titans, I mean, they came into the game with the 5th worst pass defense. If you didn't play well against them,
you got to cut them up.
I think you're terrible at this point. Like, that's why I say I feel like he had to play. There was no choice to not play well. He had to.
He had the easy throw to Coop for a touchdown. He had the Cooper throw that resulted in pass interference. And he had the weird play to Coop down the left side of the official screwed up. But for me, the best throw, and that, to me, this one was a wow throw. It was a back shoulder throw to DPJ on the sideline. We were like, that is a really good throw. And he had to throw it, basically through a needle, and he did. Mm-hmm. And it's stuff like that, you're like, okay, maybe.
You're seeing flashes of old Deshaun, flashes of it, right.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part. It's a flash. It's not being consistent.
More.
Like, it needs to be like a straight bright light, because the flash is just, for me personally, I just feel like that's not working. And it looks cool when he breaks these tackles and then able to get a throw off, but then it's like, how long is that going to work for you as well?
As long as he's upright.
You might get 1 or 2 in a game, but that's not going to be a consistent thing for him either. Because there was a couple when he had to get it to Elijah Moore, and he was able to find him, break a tackle and whatnot. So I just think it's definitely his best game as a Brown, but he definitely has to, like you said, take it up another notch. And again, the next 2 weeks are the perfect time to do it. The Baltimore Ravens, then you got a bye week, and you hit them with the 49ers, which is going to be even harder of a game. So, I mean, what better way than to prove it these next 2 weeks?
Yeah, that's when we're going to see what this team is made of, right? Offense and both defense. That's when we're going to see, okay, is this defense really as good as we actually think they are? And Kevin Stefanski spoke a little bit on Monday at his press conference about just what stood out to him about this defense.
I think it's everybody. I think you can go up and down the list of really from each room, the D-line room, the linebacker room, the DB room, of guys that are giving us great leadership, giving us great effort, obviously, on game day. But I think everybody should share in that credit. Miles is a great player. I think everybody knows that, and I know that. But I think when you add really, really good players, great players around him, it only frees him up.
Freed up. Zadarius Smith is still there. The interior defensive line's been addressed in 95. Goodness, he's just an absolute nightmare. At some point, not this week, but at some point down the road, we're going to have a conversation of how long is Jim Schwartz actually here before somebody is calling him to be a head coach somewhere else. Not time yet.
Right.
But this keeps up. We're going to have to talk about it.
I don't want to think about that, Mark.
Well, it's only week 3.
We're being positive. It's a good thing going right now. Let's not damper it with your rain cloud, Mark.
Somebody brought up Elijah Moore. And that's one of the guys I wanted to talk about because I didn't know. I felt like he had 9 catches and 9 touches and you didn't notice him. You know, he was billed in as this guy that's versatile with explosive plays, and he's going to be a matchup nightmare. I hate that term, matchup nightmare, because it's totally overused. But all this stuff, I think he had 9 total touches for like 48 yards.
49.
He was 9 for 9. I mean, every touch was a completion, 49 yards.
And he had one carry.
The problem is they were targeting
-3.
him so much in the beginning of the game that it just started to decrease. By the time you get to the fourth quarter, it's like, well, where is Elijah Moore? But they targeted him so much in that first half.
But he never hit a big one. It was like, here's a short one to Moore, and he's tackled. Here's a short one to Elijah, and he's tackled. Yeah. And you're waiting to see that other step, that other gear, so to speak.
Yeah, his longest was 14.
And going to him so much early on yesterday, we were talking about, like, is Stefanski experimenting, going to him so much early on? What exactly is they doing? They're targeting him so much. That was something Stefanski talked about in his press conference on Monday. He was like, he's a versatile player. We just wanted to see what he could do. He's one of those guys you could line him up outside, inside, in the backfield. And so I think they were maybe just kind of feeling out what he could do a little bit yesterday.
So much east-west with them early on, and that's when their second drive, you're still in script, which means at some point they said, this is how we need to attack Tennessee, and clearly they were right because they piled up enough points and yards to win it. So that's where you get a lot of the more stuff, but it was like, man, that's a lot of... When does this guy rip the wow play? We're 3 weeks in, I'm waiting for a wow play out of him.
Agreed.
That's all.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, with all the hype and everything in this, maybe it's coming, I don't know.
But it's only been one game, essentially, for him. He's been getting a lot more touches now, obviously with the Chubb injury. So I think you gotta let it play out almost. But I mean, again, with these next 2 weeks, is that going to be easy to do it? Probably would have been easier against the Titans, but obviously it didn't happen. Besides the 14 yards that he was able to get, but you have to see how it works out. But like you were saying, Leah, head coach Kevin Stefanski did say he is very versatile, and that's what they're kind of using him like, and that's what he said in the press conference on Monday.
I want to talk about Jerome Ford. He made enough plays. His total yards weren't enormous. A couple of touchdowns. One was a pretty basic, nice carry to the corner, and the pass, I mean, they just left him wide open. You got to score that. Do you guys gals believe, that he holds off Kareem Hunt all year and stays as RB1 for the Browns? I think he does. But I don't know where you two stand on this.
I mean, I think he stays as the starter for right now unless Kareem just has a crazy game. But I also think that just because he starts doesn't mean he may play the most out of Kareem. You never know. They can start splitting snaps and things like that. They obviously used Kareem a little bit yesterday, 5 carries for 13 rushing yards and 22 receiving yards. But, I mean, Kareem just got back on Wednesday and was able to play on Sunday.
Yep.
So, I mean, that was what he was able to do in such a short period of time. Again, this is a football player, so you know how to play football. But just because Jerome starts doesn't mean that Kareem doesn't play. I mean, if you want to have your name on paper as a starter, cool, but the point is to play and get out there and make plays.
And that's kind of where I'm going. Is he the clear RB1, or does this become a committee? You feel it's going to become a committee probably?
No, I mean, I think Jerome still is going to be their go-to, but I think that over time, if Kareem can still stay up, I think that they can get to the point where they're using both of them.
Yeah, I agree with Ashley. I don't think there's going to be a clear one that they're going to for the whole season, but I mean, we're just going to have to see how they play. I mean, Kareem's going to get more comfortable with this offense. Obviously, he's already played with this offense. He knows this offense, but he's going to get get more comfortable with them this season. I see him and kind of Jerome going back and forth unless one just has a crazy breakout game, but none of those guys are going to be Chubb. So if you're going to be filling in the shoes of Nick Chubb, I see two guys coming in to do that. I don't see one guy that can just step in. No one's going to be Chubb, but I don't see one guy that can just step in and be the clear guy.
18 yards on the ground.
Yeah, I know. That wasn't a lot. I might be reading too much into off-season language, but here's why I feel like the Browns are going to give Ford every opportunity to hold the job as the clear one. They had a choice between Ford and Hunt in the offseason, and they clearly chose Ford. Part of that was contract-related. He's a second-year rookie. He was like a fifth-round pick. He's making beans. Hunt was not. However, the follow-up move to that was not to then go out and get another veteran. Ford's the guy. And so they clearly liked him over Hunt enough to let Hunt go away and other guys too. So for me, that reads like we think he's the guy. You're right. If he keeps up like averaging 2.8 a carry, 3.1 a carry, he might lose the gig. But I like his chances, or at least his opportunity.
I totally agree that they're going to give him the opportunity, and then if Kareem Hunt, if you just can't deny that,
he might
to
just
him,
take it.
Yeah,
right. And that was also on the premises that Nick Chubb was here. Right, it was like we weren't supposed to use Ford this much.
And
he was supposed to learn
point.
from Chubb and, work his way up. And now it's like, now you're wanting this young guy to be put in there and get it all done. And yes, he had 2 touchdowns, but if it weren't for the 2 touchdowns, I don't know how much we'd be really talking about him. And you know what I mean? Of how well he did. So it's a learning experience. The guy is young, so we know that. Because if Kareem is doing well, you need to play him, period.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
This is what Kevin Stefanski had to say a little bit earlier, feeding off of you, Ashley, about him being a young guy kind of coming in and learning the ropes from Chubb.
Until you are in that position, until you get those carries and those touches, there's always going to be a party that is unsure. So I think for Jerome, put him out there in practice. He does it, and he does it well, and see the same thing in games. So I just think it's like any young player. Until you've done it, you haven't done it. And I think now, he's really entrenched himself in a big part of this offense.
Entrenched himself.
I like it.
Sure big sounds words. Like multiple syllables. Sounds like the head coach likes it.
I gotta stop this. We were
I'm recording. We're good.
Not yeah.
Shut it down.
We were doing the post game, and me and Leah were in there, and somebody asked Amari Cooper a question, and he used a big word, and I cannot think about what the word was. Cathartic. And Amari goes,
cathartic.
Wow. That was a big word. Like, I don't know if he knew what it meant.
Yeah, no, he asked.
He had no idea what the word meant, and it was just hilarious because he was like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about.
He was like, what? Let's simplify it here. What words are you saying out here?
Yeah, so basically we had to use different words. So
3-syllable words in the post-game.
Shout out to Amari Cooper.
Ooh. Ravens on deck. They lose to the Colts in an any given Sunday type fashion because not many people had the Colts winning that football game. There have been times over the last couple of years that the Browns played the Ravens and the defense was all just up in Lamar and causing problems to that team, and the Browns just couldn't move the ball and would lose the game. And we've talked about the Browns offense a little bit already, and sure, we want to see them take the next step, but it feels like they are well equipped to give Baltimore a lot of headaches, and I cannot wait to see what Cleveland Browns Stadium is like on Sunday because those people are going to be bananas. This is 2-1 teams. Steelers are 2-1. I don't care. They're fake good. We can talk. I can justify that later if I have to. I don't know if I have to or not. It feels like right now, because we don't know what's going on with Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and we're taping this, full disclosure, in front of the Monday Nighters, so we don't even know if they won yet. But with Burrow, it's hobbled. Right now, it feels like it is Cleveland and Baltimore's division. I can't wait to see Sunday.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the AFC North is for the taking for these guys, really. I mean, with the way that they have looked so far against them, it's gonna be insane, the stadium against the Ravens.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's gonna be good. I think what's gonna help the Browns is just that the Ravens are in such an injury situation right now. Obviously,
mess.
they had Tylen go down with a hamstring injury, and they've got a couple other people that are day to day trying to figure out what it is. So they're going to be in a position where they're looking for people to step up and figure it out and not put all of that pressure on Lamar because Lamar can't do it by himself. So I think if anything, the Browns have to take advantage of the missing pieces that they have. And a lot of those pieces, some of them are coming from the offensive side.
they've got a young receiver, Zay Flowers, and he's looked pretty good. And we know what Mark Andrews is at the tight end position. I'm not buying. I don't even know if OBJ will be back. He's had an ankle. I'm not buying Rashad Bateman. He's hurt again. Rashad Bateman is always
been on my
hurt.
fantasy for the last 2 years and done nothing.
He was a wasted first-round pick. I actually like Devin Duvernay. He's a nice player, but he's a role-play guy. Gus Edwards is a nice player, but again, a role-play running back.
He's in concussion protocol right now.
Oh, he's in the protocol.
Yep.
Gus the Bus knocked down a little bit. So, I mean, they've got situations where even a lot of their playmakers are not there. Lamar is always a playmaker, but they can run him. There was a play, I think it was last year. Lamar broke free. Myles Garrett ran him down. Mm-hmm. That is science fiction. That's not supposed to happen. Where a defensive end runs down Lamar Jackson,
Scary
but it
dude.
happened. They can play with that. They can play with them. That is going to be a whole lot of fun. And the Ravens lose. And they got jobbed a little bit. There was a call at the end of that game that there should have been a defensive holding automatic first down. You know what? I don't care. They get calls all the time. They're the Ravens. Sometimes it just happens. I don't care. They can deal with it.
I think either way you look at it, it's a defensive battle on Sunday. You got to keep the offense on both sides off the field. Either way you look at it, it's two good quarterbacks. If Deshaun plays anything like how he played against the Titans, you want to keep both of them off of the field either way, and not even give Lamar a chance to figure something out, and vice versa.
This is a game had the networks known the Browns were going to be good.
Which no one gave them the respect of thinking they would be, right?
This is not a 1 o'clock game on Sunday.
No.
This is a prime time, or maybe the 4:25 with Nance and Romo crew. This is not a 1 o'clock kickoff, but we get it because what did we talk about all preseason? Nobody respects him because of the color of the helmet. If that roster were in the Steelers uniform, this is a prime time game, but it's not.
Yep, we got Wyatt Teller talking a little bit about the Ravens D-line.
It's a lot of fun, whenever you play the best of the best, and for some odd reason we have the best defensive lines in football in one division. So our work's cut out for us. We have really good offensive line, and they have a really good defensive line. We just got to be able to like I kind of said, execute. That's a big thing that we have to be able to do, and get the run game going, because that makes everything else work.
Yeah, you got to get the run game going.
That's
the first key.
DeJuan Jones is held up. So far, anyway.
Yeah. We haven't really been talking about him, which has been a good thing. I mean, no glaring, nothing that you're talking about here. We got any problems? Yeah, he's been doing great.
Is that going to be somebody's top dog going into next week?
DeJuan Jones.
What do you got? Who you got? You got anybody in mind?
Yeah, my top dog is going to be Myles Garrett. 3.5 sacks against the Titans, 4.5 sacks on the season. All-time sacks leader. For the Browns, 79, I want to say, on his career is what they said it was. I mean, he's just a force to be reckoned with. I think he's making a pitch, starting to make that pitch for Defensive Player of the Year. And I think, he gets paid a lot of money to do what he does. You could tell he has fun out there. He's going to be... He's the starting point for that defense. Everyone follows him. He's the leader. Yes, you have other guys, veteran leadership around him, but I think it starts with Myles, and you can tell how they all follow Myles. So, he's my top dog, and I think, just after the game he had against the Titans, it's really going to be imperative that, he leads this defense into the next two big games that they're going to have, especially with the Ravens.
I'm hoping mine's going to be Elijah Moore, right? He was consistent on Sunday. We haven't seen that big breakout play from him, but I think we're just kind of slowly starting the wheels turn with this offense and seeing Watson get those connections with those receivers. I'm hoping we see that breakout play from him as we see this offense kind of move along and start to develop with Deshaun playing a little bit better. I'm hoping that this is the game that we see some things with him, along with seeing Amari Cooper continue to have those big plays as well.
I was going to go Coop. Garrett's you nailed it, so we got to pick a different one. But yes, he is the tip of the spear, obviously, heading into this thing. But Coop, we really started to see the breakout. I mean, the bomb for the touchdown because he gets free. Draws the PI for the early, I think it was in the first quarter. Gets totally jobbed by the ridiculous call by the official blowing the whistle. I mean, Amari Cooper could have had an absolutely massive day, like fantasy league winning type of week. He was just a PI call and then a bad referee job kind of did him in there, and he still had a nice game. And so, Coop, he came in as a first-round pick, and it took him a little long to get moving and get traction and get himself in the league. And part of that was because it just kind of stunk where he was in with the Raiders. I almost said Oakland. He's not there anymore. They're not there anymore. But it feels like nobody really talks about him as one of the best receivers in the league. But he's a really good receiver in this league, and perhaps with Watson, the chemistry, we start to see it. All right,
Yeah.
we're going to close on something not Browns related.
Not close. I need to talk about my fantasy.
Oh, okay. We got two things to do.
You're getting too excited right now.
I am. I'm sorry. Leah starts seeing Taylor Swift down the road, and she's ready to go. What do you got?
Yeah, this is a very quick thing. I am doing awful in fantasy. I am 0 for 3. I have not won a game. And the sucky part is I knew I wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, I saw my team, and I accidentally, I was eating and I was watching TV, and I started the draft.
Oh, that's
And then
bad.
I forgot about the draft. Right? Somebody called me, and I don't know, one of my friends going through something. I don't know, man.
That's
but
self-inflicted right
I don't
there,
ever want to talk to her
Ashley.
again in my life.
No.
Because my team was trash.
How many tight ends and kickers did they auto draft you?
Dude, I don't even...
Who do you got?
Dude, I have a bunch of nobody. It's just no point of even talking about who I freaking have.
What's the name of this team?
Ticks me off.
Ticks you off? All right, so we're going to chart the progress of Ticks Me Off every week.
Dude, I have
for Owen will
I have like 4 players that are out. 3 are questionable. Everyone is just terrible.
Who's your quarterback?
That was the only good person I drafted, which was Patrick Mahomes. Usually I go Josh Allen. I usually have a lot of Bills because the last couple of years I've been with the Bills. So I was drafting straight Bills player because I knew what they were going to do, and I was telling them like, "Hey, you're on my fantasy. I'm starting you this week. You better step your game up." But this one, I mean,
since you're a Bills,
and Mike Williams was on my team.
Oh, he's
that's done
By the way,
yeah.
since you're a Bills fantasy person, I'm going to put you on the spot because I am out on this bandwagon. Are you a Gabe Davis truther?
Oh yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
You're still drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I am, because I saw what Gabe was able to do from when he was drafted, especially in that first year. I mean, obviously everyone's going off that last game.
The big
year.
4 to 5.
Yeah,
4, 5,
man, when they went
was,
back and forth. But Gabe's got it in him. They got to get consistent, man. Like, that Bills team gets down on themselves, and then they're up and down and whatnot. And I mean, you got Steph in front of you too, so it's kind of tough because you're going to Steph all day. You know what I mean? But yeah, I am a Gabe Davis believer. Now, is he going to give you 30 points? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's
he might give you a good 12,
like
11.
So that's where I'm kind of out on Gabe. And I play in a dynasty league where I took him like late in the 4th round a couple of years ago as a dart throw. And for that, where the Bills drafted him, he's been great.
Yeah.
But when I say truther, I mean like every week plug and play wide receiver 2. I'm out on that.
I think every day is going to give you 4 points.
Yeah, then you're probably out on him too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in. I'm 1 foot
you're
in.
ish.
But I know we got to talk about, Tay and
Kelsey,
but I'm just saying, I'm 0-3. I know. I actually think I might go this whole fantasy, and we'll keep you updated. I don't think I'll win a game. That's how bad my team is. I've never had that happen in my life, and I'm gonna disown her.
And you can blame it all on your friend.
The
That's
race
the
to the
good
bottom.
part about it.
I'm upset.
Race to the bottom. All right, Taylor Swift at an NFL game.
You guys.
I had something to add here, but I want to just start with you. Are you a Swiftie, Ash?
No.
She is.
I'm a big Swiftie.
So,
But I know Travis,
Yeah.
so she talks from the point of Taylor. I talk from the point of knowing Travis.
From the point of Travis. I hope everybody on Sunday enjoyed the Super Bowl because that is as good as it's going to get. That was our peak for the Swifties.
The game was like 42-6.
We're not talking about the game. The game meant nothing. Did you see how many times they cut away to Taylor Swift?
Hilarious.
That was the point of the game, was Taylor Swift being there. This is now, we don't have a royal couple in America. This is our royal couple, is Taylor Swift
we fought a
and
war
Travis
to not have one.
Kelce. We don't have a couple like this that all of America can get behind. This is America's sweetheart, Taylor Swift. She has never been more beloved than she is right now. She is the most famous woman in the entire world.
No, Beyonce is.
Then I beg to differ. I think Taylor Swift is the most famous woman in the world right now. Then you add in Travis Kelce. I don't know if I would necessarily label him America's sweetheart, but coming off of the Super Bowl, coming off of, I would say Jason Kelce is more America's sweetheart, but coming off of Jason, Travis, let's not forget Mama Kelce, Donna Kelce, what a year she has had. Yeah. Both sons going to the Super Bowl. Now she's sitting at a Chiefs game next to Taylor Swift.
Can I just say, who she probably has no idea who that is.
Oh, she knows who Taylor Swift is. Let me tell you something.
How can you say that when Beyonce is the all-time leading performer? Literally, she is that with the Renaissance tour right now. That's all I want to say. I think Taylor's there. I just want to say that, like, you could not say she's bigger than Beyonce.
I would say
Don't let the Swifties in the Beehive go.
I would say, no, I'm not pitting them against each other. I would say right now she is more famous because, yes,
Renaissance is going on right now.
Right. Well, so is Taylor Swift's tour going on right now as well.
I interrupt this cat.
Hold on. She has, because I have to finish the thought. So not only do they both have stadium tours going on right now, correct? Taylor's is international right now at the moment. I think she picks back up in November.
Beyonce started international.
But, yeah, and then they swapped. Yeah, they went back and forth. But she is now re-releasing, like, all of these albums that she's re-recording. So I would say that's what's putting her up right now, is in addition to her they're doing it out in theaters, the concert performance, whatever. They're putting that out in theaters. So now you got something coming out in the movie theaters, plus the tour, plus all these albums that she's releasing. That's why I would put it ahead.
Can I get a word in?
Beyonce made a whole new album and outsold that.
So this is what happens when the world of Taylor Swift collides with the world of the NFL. People that normally do not give a rip, do not know if a football is blown up or stuffed, will suddenly start watching football games. So I've been looking at my phone for the last minute while you guys have had this dynamic discussion. And because I was trying to find this one tweet, this was hilarious. This is actually a series of tweets. So this is one of the Swifties says, football explainer for those confused. She is talking to the Swifties. You have 4 tries, in parentheses, downs, to go 10 yards. If you do keep the ball, the cycle repeats, and if you don't, the other team gets it. You can score touchdowns for 6 points or kick a field goal for 3. That basically is all you need to know. If that wasn't silly enough, here are the responses from the Swifties that don't know anything about sports. Okay, what's a down? Is it like dropping the ball? Another one. Do you throw the ball or run with it? Another one, at least she's honest. What does this mean? And another one. What's a field goal? This is the type of audience that Taylor Swift is bringing to the NFL.
It's good for the game, right? The only problem
good for the Chiefs.
The only problem
it ain't good for the game. It's good for the Chiefs.
You're gonna run into the problem of now you got the Swiftie community. You're having to fight with them to get tickets to Chiefs games wherever the Chiefs are playing on the road.
Because now they're going to think that she's going to be at every game.
Right?
Yeah, you're going to come just to get a glimpse. Mind you, Taylor is also a mastermind. I don't know if you saw exactly what Travis Kelce was wearing yesterday as he walked into the game, and he was leaving. It was like a set, and it was kind of like blue and white and kind of clouds looking.
It was weird.
People are like, that's kind of ugly. What is he wearing? Well, someone in the Swiftie community found the exact outfit that he was wearing online. 1989. It was like 1989 something set is what the outfit is called. Her album that's just about to drop in October is the 1989 re-release. 1989, the re-record. Nobody works harder than Taylor Swift. People are saying she dressed him. They're thinking he dressed her because she was wearing some cool shoes.
I personally think knowing Travis, I think I met Travis back in 2014, 2013, something like that. I think it's just a great publicity stunt. Like, Travis is very good at being in the news. He's had the last couple of years. He's a big guy. Like, just being like lovable. They have a great podcast, him and his brother. People love the family right now. And I think Travis is so big to the point if he says something, something of like a Taylor when he went on Pat McAfee show and said what he said, okay, now we're going to make it happen and blah, blah, blah. Like, I think if they hang out, okay, sure. I don't like being in a relationship. I just don't believe in it. And I'll tell you this, if you guys are listening to this, and this will be my last thing, go look back and see who Travis is dating. You will see that Taylor is complete opposite from probably the last 5 years.
But he's complete opposite of who she's dated.
Right, but we're talking way complete.
All I know is I'm not a Swiftie. I don't have anything. I'm just not. That's not my jam.
I don't like Taylor. I don't say I don't like Taylor Swift. I just don't listen to her.
I do know this.
I've never heard
She seems
anything.
to be the closest thing we've seen to like Elvis and the Beatles.
Are you
and
serious? No, she's not.
Closest.
How are you saying that over
1,000%.
Beyonce?
Here's where I'm going with.
This
All right.
is insane.
All right, I'll give you this. Her and Beyonce.
What are you
all I
talking
know
about?
is
This is how I know
this
y'all
gal
don't pay attention.
who could go anywhere and date anyone
Beyonce could do that.
is dating a dude from Cleveland Heights, Ohio.
She's not dating
That's
him.
gonna do it for week 3 off the
Cleveland
Leash.
men.
Ashley, Leah, and Schwab. We'll catch you next time. See ya.